Football is fun and exciting, and somehow we expect the lives of all football players to be the same. It's true football players make a lot of money and have the finest things of life. Also, due to how much they make, their lives can actually be fun and exciting. But the life of football players is not all about fun and excitement. Their lives are pretty serious too, and some have even almost lost their lives. As a football fan, you are perhaps aware of the near-death experiences of players like Petr Cech, Fabrice Muamba, and Christian Eriksen. However, there are a number of stories of football players that almost died that you do not even know exist. These are 15 untold stories of football players that almost died. Dele Alli. The average football fan perhaps only remembers Dele Alli as the player that went from playing for Tottenham as a youngster to not having any real interest for many of Europe's top clubs. As much as this type of story can make a player famous for the wrong reason, that's not the only interesting thing about the former Tottenham star.
I'll tell myself I wasn't an addict. I wasn't addicted to them. But I definitely was. I realized that going away and talking about it and understanding it more.
Although not many people know this, Alli could have died in 2020. You see, back in 2020, when lots of people still considered Alli a decent player, he was a victim of an early morning robbery attack. Two men found their way into the player's home one Wednesday morning in London and held him at gunpoint. It was during the lockdown, so everyone was home. Dele let the robbers have what they wanted, and that's why he probably still plays football. If he had put up some resistance, his throat could have been slit, and that would have been the end of the player. Dele Alli couldn't exactly defend himself, but the next player did. Gabriel Magalhães. Brazilians are best known for their natural prowess so long as playing football is concerned. This is great. However, it is just one of the things they are known for. Like being good with football, Brazilians that grew up on the street do not have a problem protecting themselves in the face of danger. There is a likelihood that the robbers that attacked Arsenal's Gabriel were not aware of this or had no idea he is Brazilian. In 2021, the Brazilian, alongside his friend, were attacked by masked men. These men were armed with a bat, and instead of fleeing, Gabriel fought back. Although this was a dangerous move as it could have cost him his life, in the end, he was fine. The next player was a robbery victim too, but he did not get robbed in London. Eran Zahavi. Unlike the first two players in this video, Zahavi is not exactly world famous. However, he is still a high-profile football player. The Israeli sportsman was a victim of a robbery in the Netherlands. One could argue it was just a robbery and not an attempt on his life, but the fact remains when there is any form of contact with armed robbers, it could result in the loss of life.
I think we were really organized, and we really know what exactly we want to do against Twente. We were ready for the game, and we were sharp from the first moment, I think.
Back in 2021, the Israeli player was training one Sunday when armed robbers broke into his home, tied his wife and children, and robbed his family. He was not at home when this happened, but if he had been at home and had tried to put up resistance, he probably would have been shot. Mateus Silva. Moving on from robbery incidents, Mateus Silva, who is most likely the least famous player in this video, almost died while simply trying to have fun. This experience happened back in 2017, and he was a San Jose Earthquakes player. All Silva did that almost cost him his life was jumping into a cold lake by about 6 a.m. in the morning. On getting into the lake, he just couldn't swim, and his friends had to rescue him. Although this seemed so simple, the man ended up being in a coma for about 2 days. Nwankwo Kanu. Two-time African Footballer of the Year and Nigerian legend Nwankwo Kanu almost never became a legend of the game. The former Arsenal star came into global prominence after leading Nigeria to Olympic victory in 1996. However, shortly after he signed for Inter Milan, the lanky forward was diagnosed with a heart disease that almost put an end to his career.
But mine was like outside, so it was difficult. But when it goes in, I was like, oh.
He had to undergo a heart surgery in the United States and was fortunate enough to not only survive the sickness, but also continue playing football. Not many people are this lucky. His teammate at the Olympics couldn't continue with football after almost dying. Joseph Dosu. Kanu might be famous for leading Nigeria to Olympic gold in football at Atlanta, but he didn't do this without his teammates, and one person that was instrumental in this victory was Joseph Dosu, who unfortunately never gained global prominence. The former Reggiana goalkeeper could have grown to enjoy the recognition the likes of Vincent Denyama and other highly rated African goalkeepers enjoyed. However, 1 year after his exploits at the Olympics, Joseph Dosu was involved in a car accident that almost cost him his life. Although he was lucky to have survived this accident, it left him confined to a wheelchair for a while, ultimately costing him his football career. The next set of players all could have died from heart troubles, but before we go on, like and share this video. Also, subscribe to this channel if you are new here. Iker Casillas. Casillas is best remembered for leading the Spanish national team to their first and only World Cup victory. Well, beyond doing so well at the World Cup, the man was also very reliable in front of goal for Madrid and was able to win the Champions League in the process.
Diferente, gente nueva, gente joven, se cambió yo creo de alguna manera un ciclo de gente ya un poco más veterana, se ha apostado más por la gente joven, yo creo que es diferente todo.
Not many people followed Casillas' career after he left Madrid. However, the trusted goalkeeper who went on to play for Porto suffered a heart attack while training in May 2019. This did not cost him his life, however, it almost did. Well, after this incident, he was able to keep playing and decided to hang his boots a year after. Lilian Thuram Oullian. Thuram was a big name in the French national team. However, not many football fans know he lost a brother to a heart issue at some point. The loss of Thuram's brother definitely affected him, but the world might not be aware of this. After the loss of his brother, it appeared Thuram was done dealing with issues of heart attacks. Unfortunately, he could have lost his life to the same ailment. In 2008, after signing for PSG, the French legend was diagnosed with a heart issue which led to the termination of his contract. He went on with football for a short while, but retired not too long after. Sergio Aguero. Speaking of players having to mutually end a contract with their clubs because of a heart condition, Manchester City legend and former Argentine forward Sergio Aguero had to give up on his dream of playing for Barcelona after his heart failed him in the middle of a game. Unlike Thuram, Aguero's heart issues cannot be said to run in the family. However, his diagnosis with a heart condition meant he could no longer keep playing active football. Of course, no one saw this coming, but the former Barcelona player had to quit for his health. Dani Carvajal. Dani Carvajal, who currently wears the captain's armband at Real Madrid, almost did not have a career after 2017. Of course, he loved football, so this was not because he was tired of this sport. Also, he was not injured. The then young Spanish right-back had a heart condition in 2017. Although he lived to tell the story and even continue with football like nothing happened, he is perhaps one of the few football stars that have gone on to have very active and busy careers after being diagnosed with heart conditions. Antonio Cassano. No one wants to die on a plane. As much as one might assume there is almost nothing that can be done about safety when a plane's about to crash, there are other ways to die aboard a plane, and one of them is through a heart attack. It might be difficult to understand how it feels to have a heart condition on a plane, but Antonio Cassano understands this perfectly. The man who used to be a forward for AC Milan complained of having difficulty moving and breathing on a return flight to Milan. A couple of days after these symptoms showed up, he got diagnosed with ischemic-based cerebral damage. He underwent surgery and is fine. Sami Khedira. Not every heart condition ends a player's career, and this is something Khedira knows about. The former Germany and Madrid player was considered one of the best midfielders in his playing days. However, beyond being an effective player and winning a couple of titles, the former Madrid star suffered from an irregular heartbeat. This kept him off the game for a while. However, after surgery and staying off football for about 2 months, he was back in action. Miguel de las Cuevas. If you follow football closely, you might be aware Khedira had surgery, but you most likely do not know Miguel de las Cuevas also had to deal with a heart condition. The Spaniard had to undergo surgery in September 2015. This was not because he was injured, but to correct an anomaly in his heart. Lionel Messi. In his lifetime, Lionel Messi has had a couple of accidents. However, he has never been involved in a plane crash. This is great, but the former Barcelona talisman almost got involved in a plane crash alongside his Argentine teammates. Argentina had played a match in Brazil and were headed back to Buenos Aires with an aircraft that could only fly 4 hours 22 minutes before needing to refuel. Messi had been in the aircraft for 4 hours and 6 minutes before stopping to refuel, so he got to Argentina safely. Unfortunately, not so long after, this same aircraft crashed into the mountains because it ran out of fuel mid-air. Neymar. At number 1 is Brazilian superstar Neymar. The 31-year-old player once got involved in an accident that left his Ferrari Spider damaged. This happened on his way to training while still at Barcelona. It was raining, so he was unable to control his car. Although the accident damaged his car, he didn't get injured. Thanks for going all the way. See you in the next video.